In this lesson, we'll explore how we can make some final adjustments and enhancements to our fantasy character concept. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so here we have our fantasy character concept that very much looks like a goblin or an orc, depending on what your definition is of either one of those fantasy species. So really quick, let's go ahead and bring up that concept sketch one final time that we worked up in lesson 2. And again, I think we hit on a lot of these different attributes that we sketched in. Again, it really did provide a nice visual roadmap and reference as we basically manipulated and deformed that photo of the angry guy. And it saved us just a lot of creative guesswork as we went through that process. Let's go ahead and hide our concept sketch group. And so what we want to do now is just add some final touches to make the overall piece just pop a little bit more. So we're in our visual touch-ups / elements group, all right? Now before we incorporate a couple of techniques to make the overall image just kind of pop a little bit more, I'm still looking at these teeth. In the previous lesson, we added a little bit of kind of shininess to the gums, and just to kind of make them feel a little bit more wet, and we added some just nasty drool, but his teeth still look very clean. So I went ahead and just added another layer, which I titled Teeth Color. Let's go ahead and set the blend mode for that layer to color, and we'll just grab some pure yellow. So with the pure yellow, we'll go ahead, grab our brush tool. Let's just use a hard round brush, and then set it to transfer. Okay. And so just kind of zooming in here, we'll just kind of bring in a little bit of yellow over those teeth. And this was something that I actually mentioned back in the lesson where we basically integrated these teeth into the mouth and started kind of painting on them and manipulating them. I kind of wanted to add a little bit of yellow to them just to kind of make them not look as clean. All right. So we're just kind of hitting these teeth just with a little bit of that yellow with a color blend mode. And I think that yellow actually kind of complements his overall skin. Again, we've got a lot of green in the skin, and working in that green at a lower opacity of 40%, we also had a little bit of the original skin color come through. And so as a result, we actually have a little bit of yellow in the skin as well. Okay? So it just kind of all works together nicely, just adding in a little bit of that yellow. All right, excellent. I'm liking how that's looking, just making kind of a quick comparison there. So again, we really want to make this image just pop a lot more, and so we're going to explore just a couple of techniques to do that. So with that said, let's go ahead and first we want to collapse or turn off the visibility of any layers or groups that we don't want showing, okay? So we want to definitely turn off the visibility of our background group, okay? Or background layer. All right, so we're going to do one more merged copy of everything. So going to our keyboard, we're going to hit Shift, Control, Alt, E. That gives us our merged copy. Let's drag that outside of our visual touch-up / elements group. And let's title this High Pass. Okay, great. Now we'll go up to Filter, and we're going to come down to Other, and then select High Pass, which is that second option from the top there. Okay, so this gives us our high pass dialog box, all right? And so we can basically control those little highlights that start to appear, kind of the brightest spots of the image, as we basically bring up the radius. Okay, and we can start to see that reflected on our image here. And so now we don't want to go too high. So we may want to just kind of stop right about there, actually might be ideal. And so we can just kind of see some of the brightest areas, some of the brightest little highlights on all those pores, kind of the specular highlights on the eyes, the highlights on the teeth and that drool. And so that's really all we want to be able to see at this point, maybe just a little bit of the whites of the eyes. Let's go ahead and commit to this by clicking OK. All right, so the next thing we want to do is adjust the blend mode for this layer. So we're going to go over here in our layers panel to where it says normal and come down and let's do overlay. All right, and then we can actually bring up our background now if we wish. And we can make a quick comparison and we can just see kind of the difference that makes. It just kind of makes everything a little bit more crisp. And it really kind of helps the textures and the skin pores that we work so hard on to really just kind of pop a little bit more. Just makes the overall image just a little bit nicer looking. Now we can do one final little trick here to our image just to make it just slightly more dramatic. We can add an adjustment layer and kind of adjust the contrast just very slightly. So we'll come down here to the bottom of our layers panel, all right? And there's a little button right here. It looks like a circle that's basically divided. And then we'll come up to brightness contrast. And that adds our adjustment layer. And so what an adjustment layer lets us do is we can come back and adjust this contrast, the brightness and contrast, anytime we want by just double clicking right here on this layer. Now it's affecting the background as well, so let's go ahead and just right click and we'll just create a clipping mask. Okay, excellent. So I'm really liking how that's looking. Again, we can just make another comparison. And so again, it's kind of a subtle change, but I think it makes a big difference. It really just kind of makes it pop just all the more better. Okay, so now let's make one final comparison and just kind of see where we started with and where we're ending. So we're going to go ahead over here in our layers panel, and remember that base head that we had? It's right here. Let's just turn on the head, and then we'll turn off the visibility of these top three right here, and there's that head. And so what a difference, what a change we have made over a period of almost 17 lessons. We're able to transform a photo of a person into something that was very fantasy oriented, and it has a very photorealistic quality. We're able to maintain all those skin pores and just a lot of those different elements of the original face and basically manipulate them, transform them into something that's completely different. So this is just a great way to really work up a concept without having to completely paint it from scratch. However, I do encourage you to work up a sketch, which is what we focused on in lesson 2. Again, it just really provides a nice visual reference and roadmap as you go in here and make all those manipulations. And it really does just kind of get the creative juices flowing right out the gate. Okay, so I hope you found this course useful and some of the techniques in it useful for your own projects. By no means are all the techniques and tricks that we've used the be-all, end-all way to create a concept like this. But again, I hope you find it useful for your own projects. So thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you next time.